Shipping in the Red Sea, Gulf of Aden area continues, but has seen a major decline given the ongoing threat of attack from Yemen's Houthis. The Houthis started launching attacks against vessels they felt were associated with or sympathetic to Israel's cause in Gaza late last year. Shippers have had to resort to using alternative routes, but this means a longer and more costly voyage.
We've had over 100 ships that have been targeted by the Houthi militants. And I think where we're particularly concerned is regarding the sophistication of these attacks, particularly with the use of drones, as well as very advanced weaponry. So it really is showing us how vulnerable shipping can be to these geopolitical conflicts that seem to take place more and more these days.
Efforts to avoid the Red Sea and the Suez Canal have cost the shipping industry an untold amount as they've had to extend their voyages, with freight rates for those voyages rising as a result.
The obvious alternative is coming via the Cape of Good Hope. It's very difficult to determine actual cost because there's obviously so many different aspects that will impact that, but you're typically dealing with an additional 3,000 nautical miles that these vessels now need to transit when they go via Cape of Good Hope, which roughly translates to about an additional 10 days of sailing time. So figures are very difficult to determine. We have heard some figures of an additional $1 million per voyage that's extended via Cape of Good Hope.
Ultimately, longer drawn-out voyages, particularly for goods containers, means delays against planned delivery times and a higher cost for them to be delivered to their destination. Higher shipping costs will ultimately result in high prices for the end consumer. And in instances of conflict, the propensity for insurance premiums to rise also increases.
Risks associated with war are then usually covered under a separate policy. So I'm not an underwriter, so I won't be able to go into a lot of technical detail, but typically ship owners would take out an additional insurance, which would then cover them for their vessels that are transiting through these high-risk zones.
Another issue the shipping industry is trying to grapple with is its need to curb its global carbon footprint. Industry-wide initiatives are at play to try and achieve a 40% reduction in CO2 emissions by 2030, with the hope of being carbon neutral by 2050, although they're highly ambitious goals. But it's important, given that shipping carries 90% of global trade.
As an example, a lot of vessels now are looking to use alternative fuels, those which are a lot more greener. And it's obviously difficult for us to assess that risk when there's not really much history in the context of marine propulsion. So as insurers, we are supporting the sort of experiments that are taking place in the market regarding these alternative fuels. As an example, ammonia. We're also seeing methanol, and we're seeing this coming through in vessel orders. So it is encouraging to see that the market is turning in that regard as they move forward to meeting those goals.
Never be wholly immune to the dangers of the sea. Allianz Safety Review notes that vessel security and safety in the sector has vastly improved over the years. Nompumelo Losiziba, SABC News, Johannesburg.